It's autumn, or maybe something vaguely similar to the topic of this video. Illustrations by me. So I know for you it's already been autumn for a little while. For me, it's autumn now, so I am having this is my favorite time of year. I say that all the time. My favorite time. I love the color. Autumn is my favorite color. That's what I would like to say, just so you know. Anyway, we're continuing with the second set, the second packet, I should say, of the colors from the DaVinci line. There are some fiery reds coming, some very dark, deep reds. We've got some dusty pinks. We have some perylines. We have purples that get dark and just dirty. Not dirty, you know what I mean. And we have some very light purples to add to that as well. So I'm excited for this. This was the first one that we did this. We did this last time, and I enjoyed working off the limited palette. When I created this, I thought I don't really like this at first when I started painting it, but I love this now. So I'm going to enjoy the challenge of just creating with the 24 colors that are in this next packet. I hope that that you enjoy it as well, because it's something I really enjoy, and I'm having fun. So that's the most important part. I'm having fun. And I want to use, this is not a sponsored video at all. I have a really old brush that's been sitting up on my shelf that I've probably been using for about 10 years now. And it's a cheap, inexpensive, Simply Simmons 1/2 inch. They call this a sword brush. Now, can you see the angle on that thing? So this isn't like a lot of other sword brushes that have a tall and then it kind of like slopes down into like a D almost. And they call that a sword. This is just an extended angle, but they call it a sword brush. And I love this brush. I've used it for so long. It has sat up on my shelf for a very long time. I want to use this. I want to put some things. I'm not going to do a review of the brush. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to use it. And that's what I'll do for this whole piece here. I'll just use the brush. It's a wonderful brush. I just really enjoy using it. And I haven't used it in a long time because I've had so many other brushes come to me. I want to see if I still love it. I'm sure I do. But I will let you know if I do while I'm creating with it. So, like I said, we're just going to get right into the swatching, and then I'm going to go right into the painting, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to this. There are so many wonderful colors that I'm waiting to see here. Some things that I think we're going to have there's some interesting colors. Let me put it that way. There's interesting colors in this set that I don't think I've ever seen before, and some of them, we'll go through them as we go. All right, let's get into the swatch. Okay, so if you remember, this is where we left off. I did all of this. I created this with it, and I absolutely loved this piece. The more I looked, first I didn't like it. The more I looked at it, the more I absolutely loved it. Wonderful. So we're going to go from here. I'm going to take this away, and we're going to move on to the next page. Okay, everybody, are you ready? Here we go. First one. CAD Red Medium, we have just a quick refresher. You have the light fast rating, then you have whether it's opaque or transparent or whatever it is. In the square is the series. That's all that little square means. It's a series. It tells you how expensive something is. Then whether it's staining, it'll have an S if it is, nothing if it's not. And then the G, it'll have either nothing, which means non-granulating. G1 is slightly granulating. G2 is extremely granulating. And then we'll do the pigment. Okay, so this one is very light fast. So this is excellent light fastness. It's opaque. Of course it is. It's CAD Red Medium. You know what that means? It's going to be a cadmium. Cadmiums are opaque. That's just what it is. Then we're going to have, this is Series 5, so it's a little bit more expensive. The cadmiums are more expensive, which is why in what people say the student grade garbage is, they don't have the cadmiums. So they have because they're so expensive, that's why. They want to make them more affordable. So they usually have cadmium hues. I would rather them just call it a different color. But a lot of people like cadmium colors, but they don't like the cadmium paint. So they do the cadmium hue and try and make it look as close as they can to it. Anyway, it's staining and it's slightly granulating because it's a cadmium paint. So let's see. Let's get, that is a fiery, so we're going to go from the true reds all the way to the cool reds and pinks and things like that. That's just where we are in this series. So let's see, that is a fiery red. You see that very well. And and I'm expecting that. That's what we're looking for this. Fiery reds here. And I'm going to put down, and it moves through the water a lot. All of these, or most of these I should say, move through the water very well. Let's take away a little bit here. What do we see? What we see is, I don't know if, now hold on a second, let's go back here. I just want to cut back here for a second. This is more of a true red. So when this dries, I want to see what it looks like to me, like it's more of a true red. Like underneath here, there's not an orange, it's just a reddish color. Where here, it's a little bit more orange, here it's a little bit more orange, then here it's just a light red. Oh, I didn't show it on the screen. You got to do that, Pete. So these two, a little bit more orange undertones here. This one is just a light red undertone. And then you know, okay, so now we're into the true reds, and that's where we are. So this looks like it's just a reddish undertone to me. So that's where we are. Okay, now we're going to go to the cadmium red deep. Usually when you have a red and they call it a deep, it means it's a cool red. Just so you know, that's what they usually go for with that. One light fastness, it's opaque again because it's a cadmium. Series 5 again because it's a cadmium. Staining G1, so slightly granulating, or at least somewhat granulating. And then we have, it's the PR108, which is the cadmium red paint. And look at that. So you can tell right away it got cooler. It's a cooler red. How do you know that? Well, you look at it and just say, okay, that's a cooler red. But if you really want to tell, you pull this away a little bit and you will see underneath is a little bit pinker. Now this is close to a true red. So this is a little bit more reddish compared to this one. But this one next to this one looks like a warm red. And that's just how that is. But it's red under here. Maybe leans a little bit to the warmer side. But this definitely leans a little bit cooler. This is more of a completely true red. And that doesn't mean that it is a true red. So that there's not pink underneath. If there's pink underneath, then you say, oh, that's a completely cool red. But the truer red, so this is like a warmer truer red. This is more like a cooler true red, but they're in the true red areas right here. I would prefer this one. I really like the deep colors. I like the deep reds. I like this. But we are getting to some of my favorite pigments, and that is the perylines. I love the perylines. I don't think I have seen a peryline that I do not like. So all the perylines I love. Light fastness of 1. Looks like it's semi-transparent, so there's a little bit of opacity there, I think, a little bit, but they're being very hard on their paints. I think the perylines are pretty transparent. Then you have the Series 3, so right in the middle of the road, and it's staining the PR 149. Let's see what that looks like. Oh wait, I got to tell you what that is. Yeah, I can't just tell you that. You see the pigment information. So it's PR 149 is the perylene red, by the way. Okay, so this is going to be more of a true red. It's not as cool as I thought it was going to be. Now, just keep in mind, the perylines are a beautiful color. They're a beautiful kind of paint. But as we wipe this away a little bit, you'll see it's more of a true red. The deep color here is a little bit cooler to me. I think this is a little bit cooler of a red. This is more of an in-between, almost between the other two that we just did. So that's what it looks like to me anyway. But the undertone is a red. There's no orange in there, and there's no pink in there. So it's a true red for that. But a very pretty color, little rich, didn't move in the paint as much, but not bad. Not bad at all. So for whatever reason, the PR254, it's always a PR254 when they put their name to it. And I don't know if they're just doing that to copy each other or what the case is, but the Da Vinci red here is a light fast of 2. You have semi-opaque, Series 3 staining, and that 254 is a pyrrole red. Pyrroles are bright. That's what you need to know about a pyrrole. So if you hear pyrrole, I think we went through, what did we go, last time was a pyrrole orange, right? Yes, last time it was here it is here, the PO73, that's a pyrrole orange. Bright colors. Pyrroles are very, very bright and vibrant. That's one of their trademarks. And what you see under here is that we're starting to get a little bit of a pink underneath. So then you know we're moving into the cooler reds here. This is a cool red, a little bit more pink. Now, between all of these so far, this is my favorite one. I love the deep reds. I really do. I love deep reds. But we're going to get to some deep reds here. Just give me a second. We're coming up over here. This Pearly Maroon, very deep color. At least they usually are. Okay, let's see what this looks like in some water. And I'll put some down here. And it didn't move through the water very much. A little bit, but not much. Okay, so this is a DaVinci red tint. Light fastness of 2. It's opaque. Series 3 staining. You have that pyrrole red again, but now you have the titanium white with it. And what do you expect when you add a titanium white? That it's going to get a little bit more pastelish. So the red tint I'm expecting to be, well, I could see it on the dot card and say, yes, definitely. It's more pastel colorish. But some of you will really like this color, especially you floral artists. It is a very nice, bright, and vibrant pink, or at least, no, maybe not. Let's say it's a muted down pink. It's not a bright and vibrant pink. It's muted down. That was definitely a bad assumption on my part. Let's see if it moves through the water a little bit. And it does, moves through the water just fine. So this is a color that I could use because it's a little bit more muted down. So I would use this and mix it a little bit with some other things. I'd probably mix it with that Cad Red Deep and just get it a little bit deeper and get like a dusty pink with it. That's what I really like with the pinks. So that's how I would use it. Now we have a Rose d'Or. And I think I'm saying that correctly. D'Or, you don't pronounce the E, right? It's not Doré because, well, I don't know. It depends on what language it is. Let me tell you. Oh, I will go into that here a little bit as I'm swatching this. So it's a 2 light fast. It's completely transparent. Series 4 staining. You have here a granulating 1. So that's a 1 granulating means slightly granulating. Okay, so what you have here is the quinacridone violet. And it is accompanied by the Naphthol Scarlet Lake, and you know I like that color. We went over that before last time, and I said, yeah, I really like that color, that PR188. It's right there. You saw it right there before. So let's see what that looks like. I'm hoping, because that quinacridone violet is in it, it should be fairly cool. And let's see how that comes out here. So very bright, very, very bright for that color. And not as cool as I would think that it is. That does not look as cool as I think it should. I don't see that violet in there even a little bit. Well, maybe, hold on. Let's see if, maybe the undertone a little bit is a little bit of a pinkish instead of just red. It's a little bit pink into here. So yeah, maybe it's, okay, it's in there. But it's just not as cool of a color in the mass tone as I would. This is cooler, and this is cooler, but this is not as cool. So, I don't know. That's strange. I would expect this color to be extremely cool because it has the violet right in it, and it didn't move as much. But very interesting. I don't know. Maybe it was a mistake in the dot card, but maybe not. I have no idea. I have no idea. Now, here we go. Now we have... This is what I mean. It has a light fastness of 2, but this is the true Naphthol red. Absolutely love this color in every set that I've ever used it in. It's opaque. It has a Series 4. It's staining. That's the PR170 right there. It's the Naphthol Red AS. I don't know what the AS means, but you just do what you want with that. Some companies like, well, I don't know, but some companies do have like, call it like an alizarin kind of color, but really it's not. It's a naphthol color. It's a lot more bright. It's brighter. That's what the naphthols are. So you see that naphthol red there, and it is a beautiful color. I love it. It's a cool red, bright and vibrant. And if you take away this edge here, you can see that pink underneath. You can see that there's a lot of pink under there. So that's how you know, okay, this is definitely a cool red. Let's see how it works with the water here. And it moves a little bit, but not a whole lot. And that was, oh, look at that. I just got that on there, which is terrible. That's not what I should be doing. I'll get that. Don't worry about it. We're fine here. We're fine. I'll just blot that out. That's fine. We'll get it. We're doing okay. See, for staining colors, you see it stain a little bit, but it's not as bad as it could be. Let's move on. We have a Quin Red. What do you know about the Quin Red? For one, you know it's a cool red. That's what the Quin Red is. With Light Fastness of 2, it's completely transparent. So these two here should look very similar, I would assume. Look very similar with a pink undertone. Quin Reds have a pink undertone, but they're more red in the mass tone, just like this color, but it is more transparent. So if you want to work with something more transparent than this one, you get this one. That's how I would look at that. It's still staining, and that 209 is the quinacridone red. So here it is, and it's a little bit of a weaker tinting strength than I would expect from a quinacridone red. And I got it off the card just plenty there. So that's what that is. It is a little bit of a weaker tinting strength than maybe sometimes I would be used to, but that's what it is. Hold on, I will have to take some of this away here. And you can't see it as much because it's so light, but this is very pink under here. More pink than this is, but this you can see the pink as well. So it's just a very, very light pink here. That's the quinacridone red. Okay, this color I'm very excited for because I don't know what it is. I have no idea what this is going to look like. This is called alizarin gold. Now, I have this PR177. This is an anthracnone red. I have one of these in, I believe it's Daniel Smith, and I know what that looks like. It's like a true red. But now you're mixing it with a PY42 that is the synthetic version of the yellow iron oxide. It's a 1 light fastness, semi-transparent Series 3 staining. I'm very interested to see what this looks like. This could be a beautiful color, or it can be not so beautiful. But it's called alizarin gold. Now, I'm saying this is going to be, looks like a very deep color here. So that looks like a very deep color, and I really like it. I think that is a beautiful color. I've never seen this color in any other brand. I've never seen an alizarin gold. I don't know. I was expecting more of an orangey color, to be honest with you, like a rusty orange color. But this looks like it's a true red underneath. It's very dark, deep red. I do really like it. So the alizarin section of it, you know I'm hard when people call things alizarin, and right here we're coming up to an alizarin crimson. I guarantee you I'm going to be hard on it and not like it, but that's okay. The alizarin is the deep dark red. That's what makes something like a crimson color. That's the crimson of it, I would say. But then the gold, I guess, is that it's a little bit more of a deep color. Almost reminds me of like a perylene maroonish underneath the undertone. But it is maybe a little bit, I don't know, maybe there is a little bit of orange underneath a little bit, and that would make sense for the color combination. But very interesting. It's a very pretty color, and I do really like it. I want to see what that looks like when it dries. It does move through the water very nicely. When this dries, I want to see what, because a lot of these shift a little bit. All watercolor does. I've never seen one that didn't shift. Like this has become a beautiful color, just like I knew it would be. I love that color. And this color has become a beautiful color, just like I knew it would be. But I want to see what happens here, because I think I really like this. I don't know. I'm going to have to experiment with that. Now this is going to be, I'm going to be hard on it. This alizarin crimson with a 2 light fast, fully transparent, Series 3 staining, a little slightly granulating. PV19, the quinacridone violet. Let's see if it can be an alizarin crimson. It does a good job. That's a probably better job than I've seen most with the fake alizarin crimsons. Let's see, under here should be very pink, and that's what an alizarin crimson, if you take this away, it's very pink, and it is. It looks like it's very pink under here. And that's what you usually see with an alizarin crimson. And then a very, very dark red up here. So this nails it. I think they did a great job with this alizarin crimson. I love alizarin crimson, the original alizarin crimson. I absolutely love it, and I think they did a good job here. You're not going to get it perfect. You're not going to, because nothing looks like the actual pigment itself. But this is probably the closest I've ever seen any company come. So good job. I thought I was going to hate that color, because I usually do. I hate the fake, the imitation alizarin crimsons usually. Not that they're bad colors. I just hold them to a different standard because I love the color so much. But they did a great job here. And doesn't move much through the water. A little bit, not too much. But that got really dark and deep up here. So that's what it needs to do. That's what that crimson is. Very dark and deep. Okay, this is a carmine. Now this is not the normal carmine that you're, again, using the quinacridone violet. But this is a 2. So I don't know. These should be very similar, but this is actually a series 5 over this series 3. So I don't know why that is. And it's staining and has slightly granulating. It has the same kind of characteristics of everything, but let's see. So let's see what this looks like. And it is a different color. That's nice. That was pleasantly surprised. Now this is but what I do want to say is this is a darker carmine than I usually see. Usually the carmines are a little bit lighter, a little bit more pinkish. But this, I really like that color. I think it's a good color. I think if you didn't have this color, for some reason it wasn't available and you had this on hand, you could swap them. They are different. I'm not saying they're not. They are different, but you see the pink underneath and the dark red on top. You could substitute one for the other if you liked one of them better than the other one and you had that on your palette. You all of a sudden ran out, and you can put that on there. And that moved through the water a little bit, but not a whole lot, but it did. Oh, I didn't do the Quin Red. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me I missed this? You didn't say a word. You just left it alone. Look, I can't be accountable for this stuff. Someone has to be accountable for it. It's not going to be me. That was your fault. Okay, now we're getting to a Perylene Maroon. Again, love the Perylenes. And the Perylene Maroon, this is a light fast 1, so it's excellent light fastness. You have semi-transparent Series 4 staining, and this is the Perylene Maroon pigment. So they're using the regular. I love when companies name things and then use that pigment for it. I love when they do that, because at least I know what I'm looking for. Okay, so usually very dark, deep red. That's what we're going for here. And that's what it is. Look at that color. That's beautiful. Now I want to see, I'm going to take away a little bit here, because I want to see, that is just so gorgeous of a color. Usually these dry, well, in my experience, I don't know if every company does that, but the ones that I've used, they dry a little bit more, or a little less red, and a little bit more, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, it dries almost to an earthy red. I don't know how to explain that. But let's see how this one dries. These are coming along beautifully. I love this color. That's a great job with that. I will write them a letter. How about that? Let's see what this looks like here through the water. Oh, it moves through the water beautifully. I might have to take some of this away a little bit more. Let's see. I just want to see what it looks like when it dries. That's my big concern here. We are moving right along here. We have the Red Rose Deep. See, this is going quick. Just stop complaining. All right, let's see. This is the Red Rose Deep. And usually I'm expecting this to be, well, exactly what I think. Yeah, we'll see. I'm expecting this to be just a deeper pinkish color, Red Rose Deep. So it has that deep in it. I'm expecting it to be a little bit, I don't know, maybe to the coolest. Now this did not get as cool as I thought it would. This got more of a true red. I said that in the beginning, but not as cool as I thought it was going to be. Let's see if this one is. Usually the deep means it's going to be a cooler or darker. It could be darker, so maybe that's why that's darker. Look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, I'm getting way distracted by everything else that's happening in life. All right, that's a pretty color. That's a pretty color. That's kind of, that's what I would expect. Yeah, so I don't even know. But see how pink that is? And that's that Red Rose Deep. That's the So again, 2 light fastness, transparent, Series 4 staining, and we have the quinacridone violet color again. That PV19 is so versatile. Look what it can do. It can go from here, here, here. Like, look how pink that is compared to any of these. It's up here. It can do anything. PV19, wonderful pigment. I usually enjoy them as well. They're nice. They're good. Here's another one, PV19, permanent rose. I'm expecting this to be much more pink, like this here. Let's see what that ends up being. Thank you. I will do the water part. Just 1 second. Thank you for reminding me. Let's see. So this is going to be the permanent rose, and it's much cooler. Great for florals. I don't have much of a use for it myself for anything, but it's a very pretty color. If I had to use one of these type of colors, I would use this one. This is a much darker color, but really, I'm up here. I'd use that carmine. I might actually use both of those. Those are beautiful colors though, right there. I'm getting distracted again. I'm gonna forget the water again because I'm getting distracted. Okay, let me do this quick. And that moved a little bit through the water. It doesn't shoot through, it spreads a little bit. And that one didn't move as much. So a little bit, but not as much. Okay, now we're going to another PV19, a Rose Madder. Now usually, well, this is again 2 light fastness, transparent, Series 5. This is staining. That one was staining and a little slightly granulating. So some of what I've noticed here is some of these PV19s are slightly granulating, some of them are not. And I think the only difference is probably the size of the particles when they process it. I'm gonna move this up a little bit so you can see that a little better. Some of the particles could be a little different, that's all. Slide it. Yeah, there we go. You got the whole thing on the screen now. So the Rose Madder, let me get that. And usually we should be getting cooler. We're moving more towards the purples. So let's see if that's the case. And that's yeah, so that's like a, I would say closer, you're moving closer to this magenta kind of color over here. This is, this is pink on the verge of being purplish pink. So this is getting much lighter now. And a lot of, this is definitely more for a floral person right here. That's what I would say. I think this is would work very well for florals, for someone. Again, not my thing. I don't do the lighter pinkish purples as much. And you can see even in the mass tone here how pinkish purple that is, as opposed to this one, which looks more red with pink and then more even darker red with pink. But this one, more, you can see the pink in there. Now Opus, okay, they're not rated. I'm guessing it just has a red dye in it with the quinacridone magenta, semi-transparent Series 5. It's staining. And we're going to say this is fugitive. I'm not going to say that this has any kind of light fastness to it at all, so I would not use this myself in a painting, especially when I was going to give someone. However, if you are an illustrator that scans work, and you're just sending scanned work, or you're doing prints or something like that, or just sketchbook stuff and you like to do that, then I would say go for it. This is going to be a look at that pink color. And for some people, this is a must-have pigment. Not for me. I would never use that pigment anywhere. I will try to use it in the painting though, because that's what this is about, experimenting. And I want to try and use things I don't normally use, such as an entire palette of reds. This is going to be difficult. We'll see if I can do it. Yeah, so see how this Pearly Maroon dried almost to an earthy red, almost like a, it's not brown. I know it's not brown, but it's an earthy red. So that's what this kind of dried to, and that's what I was expecting. So I'm glad it did what I thought, because I wish there was a color that when the Perylene Maroon first goes down, that it keeps that color, that's the color that ends up in the end when it dries, but I've never seen that. However, this is very pretty. I do like this color, and I will use it. I like the Perylenes. Now we're at the Magenta Rose. We have a 2 light fastness. It's transparent, Series 4 staining. PR122 is quinacridone magenta. And that's what I would expect for a magenta. See how it gets that purpley pink? That's a magenta. And oh boy, I just dumped a bunch of water into that. I just wanted to clear this up, some of that. So you can see in here that that is going to be very light purple. You can see the purple in it. It's not a purple pigment. It's a magenta, but it's just, you can see that it's kind of purpley underneath there. And you can even see it in the mass tone. And let's see how that does with the water. And there we go. Does that help you when I do that? I like to see that because I like to see if it moves in the water to see how I'm going to use it. Because I like to do a lot of charging into water or charging into other paint. I like to see it move. But does that help you at all when I do that? Because I don't have to do that. Some people like it, some people don't like it. I don't know. You tell me down below. You let me know. Now this is fuchsia. Now usually a fuchsia is very confusing color to me because sometimes the magenta and the fuchsia run very close together, even though they're completely different pigments. In some brands, they look almost identical, and sometimes they're confusing. Let's see what this does to me. This is one light fastness, so if you want the light fastness, maybe you'd use that one. Transparent, Series 4 staining, and the PR202 is a quinacridone crimson, so this should be a darker color though. So, and it kind of is a little bit of a darker color than that magenta. But overall, I think it's very, very similar. It's maybe a little bit more purple in here, and that's maybe the defining factor. But it is a little bit darker. It's much darker, which is that crimson color. You see crimson, you think deep. That's what you think. But this is a darker color, but the undertone very similar to this one here. So I guess you can interchange them if you need to, but if you like the darker color, you go this way. If you like the lighter color, you go that way. And that doesn't move very much through the water at all. Okay, we are in the last row here, so almost done. We've got the last quarter to go. We're doing fine. Theo Indigo Violet. That's a very interesting name. I've never heard that before. But it's a 2 light fastness, transparent, Series 5 staining, and slightly granulating. That PR88, PR88, that is a Theo Indigo Violet pigment. That's what that is. Now, some companies would call this like a Bordeaux color. So I'm expecting it to be like a deep wine color. Let's see. And of course, the PV19 is a quinacridone violet. And yeah, look at that. Not bad. Not bad at all. I think it's a little bit more on the purpley side, definitely. So you wine drinkers, tell me, how'd they do with the Bordeaux? What does that look like? Is that a nice deep wine color? I think it's, you can see the purple undertow, very, very purple underneath, which is the violet. That's what it is. So very pretty color, very interesting to look at. I think that's a nice color. I probably wouldn't have any use for it, but I do like it. And let me tell you why I don't have any use for it, and that's because that's my violet. The Perylene violet right over here, that's my violet. Now I'm going to look at this cobalt one too, because I like cobalts. I love cobalts, so we'll see how that looks as well. But very nice color, very pretty color, very dark and deep. I do like that part of it. And DaVinci is buying in bulk here with the PV19. We have a quinacridone violet, which is exactly what this pigment is. 1 light fastness, transparent, Series 5 staining, and let's see what the difference is here. So, oh, look at that color. Very nice color. Very nice, very pretty. And you see, look, that one is also a PV19. Do you see how different they can get? They are getting their money's worth out of this container shipment of PV19. They said, we're going to figure out every way we can use this pigment, and they have done it successfully. Now, I think, I don't know, but you tell me, I think you could interchange these. This one has a slight granulation to it, but other than that, this one is more light fast. So if you're going to pick these, the slight color variation, but very, very close. Almost you can't tell. Almost. Let's see what happens when it dries, but right now, I don't think you can tell. And there it is in the water, and it looks just like that. I think these are very close. That PV19 is probably the bulk of that, if you ask me. And the PR88 maybe not as much. I don't know. Maybe they just look very similar. I have not run into the PR88 very much, so I can't tell you. But I think this is good. Now we have a permanent magenta. Of course, you see the word permanent, and it's a 2 light fast. For whatever reason, permanent, it's not as light fast as the ultra light fast, the excellent. I don't know why. Anyway, transparent Series 5 staining, granulation slightly, and we have the, why is that granulation? It could be because of both of them, but you have the PV19, you have the quinacridone violet, and then you have the PB29, which is everyone's favorite except for mine, ultramarine. However, I do like the purples that use ultramarine because it's a blue that leans red. So if you have a blue that leans red and a red that leans blue, you get a pretty purple. That's just how that is. And that's a very pretty color. I like that color. Let's take some of this away. Now, this is something that I would probably use over the other two, but it's just me. Just me, because this has more of a pinkish undertone and less of a purple undertone. But it says permanent magenta. It's like a violet color up in here. It's nice. It's a very pretty color. I like it. I think it's a very, I do like the PB29 mixed in here. I just don't like the PB29 by itself is the only thing. And it's not because of the pigment itself that I don't like it. It's not because it does anything weird. I just don't like the warmer blues. That's all. But in this case, we're not looking at a warm blue. We're looking at a magenta color. And look at that, move through the water. Pretty color. It's a very dusty pink over there. I like that color, and I like that word. You know how many times I've said dusty pink in this episode? I've said it because I like it. So this is a nice color. I like that color. I'd probably use that on my palette. And one of my favorite colors ever, Perylene Violet. I just love this color. So it's a 1 light fast, excellent light fastness, transparent Series 5 staining, and they're using the Perylene Violet color. And look at how dark and deep this is going to get. I'm going to have to lighten this up for you so you can see it, because that is an absolute beautiful color. Now, this is not very similar to many other Perylene colors. Hold on, I will get this all cleaned up. I had to add a little bit of water here so I could pull some away. This is not the same as some other Perylene Violets that I've seen. This is much dark, much deeper, much more like a, I don't even know. I don't think I've ever seen a Perylene Violet this color before, but I do like it. It's just not what I would expect. That is a deep color. I want to see when it dries. It's going to be very dark. I expect it to be a little bit more violet, and it's not. It's very, there's a lot of red in it, and it's not something that I would have expected. And it doesn't move as much through the water, a little bit, but not much. Now we have the Cobalt Violet Deep. So the deep might mean there's a little bit more blue in it, which there is. And then, so we have a 1 light fast, which is excellent. It's transparent, Series 5, more granulating because it's a cobalt, very granulating, the cobalts. Now this is a PV14, which is the actual cobalt violet, and then we have the cobalt blue with it. So that's interesting. So let's see what that looks like. And there you go. Now, for whatever reason, the cobalts tend to be slightly less tinting strength, but they are beautiful colors. I do like cobalts, and you can already see the granulation in here. I don't have to do anything to this to see it. You don't have to add a ton of water. You don't have to do any of that stuff. I see the granulation in here. It's a beautiful color, and it's a beautiful granulating pigment. Now, again, I don't use these types of colors. It moves pretty good. Not a whole lot, but it moves good. I don't use purples usually a whole lot, but I love the cobalt. So if I'm going to use a purple, I would do this. Look at how dark that got. It's an earthy color again. So far, this is the one that I would use, the permanent magenta. I think I would use that over the Perylene Violet. It's a beautiful color. I love how this turned out. That's my favorite color so far. Not on the whole set, but it's definitely one of my favorites on this whole page, but not my favorite. So this one, and then I'd say the alizarin crimson so far. I didn't get to lilac yet, but that's not going to be my favorite. And I like the carmine. I like these two up here. I like the cad red deep. I like the permanent magenta. Those are my colors right there. The Perylene maroon will be used. I will use that color. I like it. And the Perylene violet will also be used, but differently, as well as the cobalt violet. We're going to use everything that we can here. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying anything's wrong with this color. This lilac has 2 light fast, semi-opaque, Series 3, and staining. We have the quinacridone violet, we have the ultramarine blue, and the titanium white. It's going to be a pretty color, and it is. It's a pretty color. It looks more, it looks very opaque. I would say that that's fully opaque. I would not say semi-opaque for that. That's fully opaque, if you ask me. And it moves a little bit in the water. Not a whole lot, but it moves a little bit. So, okay, this is the set here that I'm trying to use. Let me pull it down a little bit so you can at least see that. No, you can't see the names all the way. You can't see the whole thing on the screen. Hold on. How's that? Are you still in focus? Okay, so this is the set here that I have to use on this piece here. So this is going to be challenging again. Very much analogous type colors right next to each other. Gonna work on that, but we'll see. We'll see what I can do here. I think this is going to be a nice piece, and I'm going to try and use a lot of these colors, mostly the ones that I absolutely love, but I think this is pretty, and I do like so many of them. There are some on every tier that I would use. So let's get to it, and we'll get into the painting part. I'll explain to you exactly how much I like this or don't like trying to make this a painting. So what I have to say is that I absolutely love these challenges. This set has changed my opinion on using pinks and purples. I'm going through these colors and I'm saying and I like the Cad Red Deep, you know that. I said that when I was swatching it, but up through the DaVinci Red Tint, that it was an opaque pink color. I like that color. Moved down to the alizarin gold. That was a color that it surprised me that I liked, but I do like it. The alizarin crimson was beautiful. The carmine was beautiful. The perylene maroon was great. The red rose deep, the rose madder, the magenta rose was nice. The quin fuchsia, I've never used that color in my life. It was a beautiful color. I like it. I think I'm gonna put it on a palette. Then I went to you go down through the quin violet. The permanent magenta was one of my favorite colors. I love that color. It even separates in itself some of the what is it? The ultramarine blue separates out. It's beautiful. The cobalt violet was beautiful. I love that color. These are not my colors. And then even the lilac separates out a little bit. I absolutely loved it. These are not colors I ever use, but these are beautiful colors, and I thoroughly enjoyed putting them in the piece. When I'm looking at the piece I'm looking at in front of me, I loved putting this together. The colors interacted with each other very nicely. I tried to get an even blend of, when you get to the end, you'll see there's kind of the orangey reds that go all the way around except for the bottom left corner, but they go all around the whole thing. And then I tried to get some darker spots. I did use some of the darker colors to do that. Wonderful. Some of the more opaque colors, that DaVinci Red Tint and the lilac, I used those and then put other colors into them. And just, it created some texture. The Cobalt Violet Deep, that creates its own texture. It's just a beautiful set. And I love, if this was just a set by itself, you know what this reminded me of? So many of these colors reminded me of the Kuretake Nuance set. I loved that set. That's the smaller set, not the big Nouveau set that I still get comments. We're going to talk about that in a second. But I love these colors. These are beautiful colors. That Rose d'Or, that color, that was a great color. I do not like warm reds, but that's a strange color for me to like. But I love the color, and it worked in the whole painting. All of it came together. Now, of course, you have to wait until you see the ink put in, because otherwise it just looks like a mess. Just wait till the end when the ink's being put in, and that's fine. But wonderful set. And I did enjoy the brush. Oh, I already washed it and put it away. Anyway, I loved using that brush. I did enjoy it again. So sometimes I thought maybe it didn't hold a lot of water or paint. But that's okay because it did what I needed it to do. It held enough to do what I needed it to do, and it worked out wonderfully well. And I really do enjoy using that brush. And you saw I tried to use it a lot of different ways. I did get some dry brush effect on it and paint some wide swaths with it. Also some narrower spots, and then you flip it over and you can use it like a round. It's it's very versatile, and that's why I used to always like it. That used to be the only brush that I ever used. That was before I really even got into the water brushes, really. That was the brush I used all the time on all my paintings, and I loved it, and I still love it. It was like riding a bike, or let's put it, it's like talking to an old friend. How about that? That's what it was really like. Anyway, I do have to bring this up because I did bring up the Kuretake set. Now, I still get comments on the Nouveau set that I did, the review, that's like almost a year old. Maybe it was, or maybe it was at the beginning of this year, or was it? I would think it was the beginning of this year. So it's many months old and almost a year. We'll say at least 3/4 to 8/10 of a year old. And I don't understand it. People are still commenting on it. Listen, I can't go back. The person that said those words in that video, I can't change what they say. That was in the past. I can't go back and fix the words that I said. So I know I pronounced it Nuveo. I know that I said that's how I pronounce it. You're going to have to deal with it. What I mean is, and I had to clarify this several times, what I mean is, when I don't think about the word, when I don't think about how it's correctly said, I just think about how it's spelled, and my brain automatically pronounces all the vowels. It's a normal thing. However, I talked to my sister. She is in Italy. She's in southern Italy. And I asked her, I said, let me ask you a question. When people, like when you have French people come there, because it's Europe a lot of people from all over the place kind of walk around together. And when there's people in Europe and French people come over, do they harp on like pronunciations of words? And she said, oh my goodness, they are some of the rudest people with pronunciation that I've ever met. I don't feel bad. Now, I know not all of you are like that. 99% of you are not like that, whether you are French-Canadian French-speaking or if you're in Spain French-speaking. That's not where French is spoken. France, French-speaking. Shut up. Anyway, most of you are not like that, but I still get comments continuously. I got one of the nastiest comments the other day when someone was saying, it's pronounced this way, not the way it's spelled. At least learn how to pronounce the word. Like, people get angry. Let me tell you something. I live in America. And a vast majority of the, not majority, a vast large group of the people that I come in contact with every day do not speak the English language entirely correctly, including myself. But they don't pronounce the words correctly all the time. I never bring that up when I'm talking to them. Let me tell you why. In my opinion, language, and it's not really my opinion, this is what language is. But anyway, language is just a way to get an idea across. You use words to convey an idea. So if you say something like, and I can't tell you how many times I hear people say ricotta cheese, but if I have to live with that, you can live with someone mispronouncing a French word every once in a while. Don't give me that crap. Listen, you have to get over yourself. But you have to hear, people pronounce things wrong. But if you understand what they're saying and what they're talking about, then leave them alone. Don't sit there and correct every little thing that they do continuously so that you can feel superior. You have to be careful with it. Now, anyway, that is not a dig at French people, because I love French people. I told you, my wife is part French and part Canadian, part French Canadian. So I love French people, and I love Canadian people, and I love people from France and from Spain, just in case you were wondering. Shut up. Anyway, I love people, and I don't jump on them when they make simple mistakes, especially pronunciation of a word that is not their native language. So take it easy. Just relax a little bit. Just take a breath. It's okay if someone mispronounces a word. It happens sometimes. When people don't speak that word natively, they may mispronounce it. And you can correct them nicely. Most of you corrected me very nicely. You said, no, just so you know, you said it wrong, but that's okay. Matter of fact, I had a couple of Canadian French speakers that are so nice. Let me tell you, they are so nice. They said, well, you mispronounced it wrong. But don't worry, sometimes we pronounce it wrong too. I know you didn't. I know you don't. You're lying about that. But you're being kind to me, and I appreciate that. Sometimes, let me tell you, all the time, I need grace. I need people to approach me with kindness and grace, because I will say the wrong things, not just mispronounce words, all the time. That's what I do. That's kind of my thing. I say the wrong thing all the time. Not on purpose. I don't want to do that, but I end up doing it all the time. Anyway, that was just a little thing that I wanted to talk about. Don't take me seriously. Don't think I'm jumping on anybody or freaking out at anything. I'm not. And don't tell me that it's okay, don't pay attention to those people. I like paying attention to those people. They give me something to do with my day. So that's wonderful. Anyway, I love this piece. Let's get back to it. I love the way the piece came out. I love the colors in the piece. So many of these are going to go on my palette. When I get in touch with DaVinci and I tell them, hey, I want a palette, I'm going to pick some of these. They're absolutely beautiful colors. And I don't know. I've never used these colors normally. I'm not a floral painter, and I don't usually use these types of colors, but I absolutely love them. They're beautiful colors, and it's that time of year when a lot of these colors are used when they're, the leaves are changing. And that's the pretty colors. You see the purples and the pinks and the just different as things start to change. I've got a big red tree that's in my neighbor's yard. It's huge, towering maple tree. And when that thing changes, it gets fiery red, and then it kind of fades to like a rusty orange, and absolutely beautiful. I love fall, my favorite, or autumn, or whatever you want to call it. That's what it is, and I love it. And I love the colors of the season. And many of these, even though they're purples and pinks and warmer reds, a lot of these are colors that I see all over the place, and I absolutely love them. This was a perfect time to do this particular piece because I was already walking around. I went to the store today and I was walking around in, Hobby Lobby with my wife. She wanted to look at something, and they had all the fall stuff up. And it instantly makes me happy when I see all these colors all over the place. It just makes me happy. I like to see those colors. I like to see the fall and all the different things. It just smile on my face and made my day for the rest of the day. I just had a big smile on my face. I just love it. So this is perfect timing. I was already inspired, and now I got to do this. So yeah, my day is complete. I can go to sleep now. And I encourage you, definitely enjoy your seasons, because they don't stay very long and then they're gone and then you wish they were back. However, I don't wish summer was back. I never like summer. Summer's the worst season for me. I just don't like it. It's bad. I would rather have my allergies in the fall and spring than deal with summer. I'm just not a hot weather person. It's just not my thing. But the rest of the year, I'm fine with, and I absolutely love it. And I just encourage you to enjoy some time with your friends. Go outside. After you're done with this, take your sketchbook, take your paints, go outside and paint some of the fall colors. If it's still fall, it should still be fall when you see this. Just go paint some of those colors. Take a trip up to wherever the leaves are changing, if you're not in those kind of areas, and go see some leaves changing. It's beautiful. Flip on, I think they have, how many different channels now where you flip it on and it's like a camera just of nothing. It's just a camera that's on in the middle of nowhere with some leaves changing. Go check that out if you're not in the area and you can't travel to one of those areas, because I will tell you, it is a wonderful experience and it's fun to do. And do it with a friend. Pretend you're on a car ride. Pretend you took a trip with a friend. Just like these people popping up on the screen here. They're my friends, and I would love to experience all the life, all the wonders and the colors and with these people popping up here and with you as well. So thumb up the video if you're going to check out some DaVinci paints. And you hold on, we're going to finish this whole series, but I'm enjoying doing the one packet at a time. Some of you were not thrilled that I was going to do that. Some of you said, hey, why don't you maybe do 2 at a time or something, or just pick a couple of your favorites from the set and try that, because I don't think it'll be good for just one color palette. I am enjoying this thoroughly, so I'm going to keep doing it this way. So we have 3 more videos then just of the color palettes, and then we have one where I put it all together and do something. I'll try and pick out some kind of palette. I don't know if I can do a palette just from these. I might need a huge palette because I love these colors. These are beautiful. Okay, as you can tell, I'm stumbling over every word I say in this video, so I'm sure I have plenty to show you here. So you remember I did just the one palette, and I picked a subset of some of these colors, and I thought there's no way I can do something with these. But then I went ahead and I did a painting, and that's not the right painting. Hold on. So today I went to Libby's. Libby's? What's Libby's? That's a place. That's not where I went. Hold on. Oh, that was an ice cream place. Never mind. That was not even in this state. I went to Hobby Lobby. And even the Theo Indigo. Do that again. So I want you to tell me, what do you think about the painting that I did? What was I talking about? Where was I going with that? Tell me about you like the painting. I think that's all there is to it. I just had nowhere to go from there. Let me rethink this. This isn't even an objectionable pink. Not that it's not a pretty color. It's just not one that I would. What the heck happened there? How did orange get in the water? I must have hit when I wiped it off on the. Yeah, see, I'm using the same towel to wipe off on that we did the last set. And I'm looking at the colors, even that's all, folks. If you'd like to join our community, head over to illustrationsbypete.com. You can just check some things out. You go through the site however you want and sign up for the newsletter that I almost never send out because I don't want to annoy the crap out of you more than I already do with my nonsense in these videos. But I'd love to hear from you, so come on over. All right.